Two old guys that ain't taking their crap no more. You're listening to Earl and George.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Earl and George. This week, things are a little weird. My name is George.
And my name is Earl.
And we are not sitting in the same room. By the miracle of modern technology, I am broadcasting from a walk-in closet. I'm not kidding. Walk-in closet in a cabin in Tennessee. Today is the Great Smoky Mountain Half Marathon, and my daughter and her boyfriend running it every year. So my friends and family come up to. It's not our cabin; we don't own it. Good luck with that. We rent a cabin. We come up here every year to be in the marathon, and it's happening today. And it's a lot of fun. So, Earl, how are you, man? How was your week?
I got no complaints. I just wanted to say good luck to your daughter running that marathon. Hope they do well.
You know, last year she came in second in her age. This year she wants to come in first. She's been training. Last night they ran a 5K, and the night before that she played her first college soccer game. So she's
sweet,
little tired. Yeah, she's a little tired. Mr. Producer, how are you, buddy?
I'm swell.
I am one of the benefits of coming up to Tennessee. I love the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, by the way.
You're making me jealous already.
Well, one of the benefits to coming up here is the moonshine.
Legal
So
sign.
I'm telling you,
See,
I
now-
am sipping on right now. I think I found my new favorite. Last year it was the creamsicle, the orange creamsicle moonshine.
Oh, man.
This year it's the apple pie.
No, man.
Dude.
Really? Because I've had apple pie.
So I know, but when you mix it with apple juice on the rocks,
Dude.
gentlemen,
I
can I
can see
just say,
I can see that. Wow.
cheers.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm sitting in a walk-in closet drinking moonshine. All right, coming up on today's show. Planned Parenthood believes, let me get the quote right. Planned Parenthood, quote, firmly believes that every person has the right to live, end quote.
It's win.
Also coming up on today's show, President makes a deal with the Democrats. And we talked about this last week, I believe, Earl, about raising the debt ceiling. We'll get into that. And our good friends from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal are at it again being stupid.
Wow.
But, of course, we want to jump right in. You know, last week we were talking about Hurricane Harvey. Of course, this week it is Hurricane Irma. In a side note, just for transparency, Irma is my wife's aunt's name.
So you're blaming her.
I'm totally blaming. No, I loved Irma. The big thing about my wife's family, I'm an only child. I've got a couple half brothers and sisters, but my wife's family is one of those typical Southern families. And, you know, she has 47 million cousins, and we all went to Irma's house for Christmas. So I have been to Irma's house.
Wow.
This storm that's coming up the coast should come into Alabama, according to the greatest weatherman on the planet. We should see the effects of Irma sometime. What is it, Monday, Earl?
I think it's early Monday morning.
And, of course, we're talking about James Spann. If you don't know, by the way, if you're listening from around I forgot, totally. To our friends in Japan, konnichiwa, konbanwa, arigato, because for listening in Japan, hopefully it translates well. Our Southern accents translate well into Japanese, I'm told.
Right.
If you don't know who James Spann is from around the world, he has got to be the greatest weatherman on the planet. He is his own brand. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, indeed. If he takes his suit off, then you know it's serious business.
Yeah, so I was going to say that. So here's the thing about James Spann. So James Spann is one of those typical old school weather guys. He's balding. He's got the little Jean-Luc Picard thing going on. He's always got his glasses on and off, right?
Right.
He's like a college professor where he'll have one set of glasses on his forehead and another on his nose. He'll do that thing. But in Alabama, which is a very tornado-prone area, when James Spann takes his jacket off, shows off his fancy suspenders, which he wears all the time, and rolls up his sleeves, that is the Alabama signal to get your behind to the Walmart and get some milk and bread.
Right. I forgot about him rolling the sleeves up. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot about that.
When he rolls the sleeves up, It's getting real, people. Okay? So we've been watching James Spann, and he's a great friend of ours. He's a friend of mine. I don't know if you met him, Earl, but he's a great friend. We should try to call him by the end of the show. Whatever. We're not there yet. We'll wait a couple days and see if we can get him on the show next week to talk about Hurricane Jose, which is now out way in the Atlantic.
Yeah, you got that other one too that's coming up from Mexico that's heading towards Texas again.
Katia?
Yeah.
Katia? Yeah. I think that's what they're calling it. And of course, all my liberal friends are just going absolutely ape because of the number of hurricanes, and I keep reminding them that, it's seasonal. Right. Like we are in hurricane season, and they're like, no, it's global warming. Right. Hurricane Harvey. The relief in Hurricane Harvey is still going on, and it will be going on for a very long time. But now everybody has turned to look at Hurricane Irma. Now, one thing you will never hear me say is, looks like all of the rich Democrats in Florida got what they deserved.
Right.
And that's exactly what we talked about last week when a coworker of mine came into my office and said that to me and then scurried off when I turned on the video. So we want to pray that everybody in Florida if you haven't left yet, you're not leaving.
Right.
I mean, even as far north as Birmingham, Alabama is from the panhandle of Florida, and especially the Key West area, you're not getting out very far. Earl, you said that you were stuck in traffic today, and Mr. Producer was late because of the traffic. Is that what I heard, guys?
Yeah, it was almost a parking lot when I came through, and I came through at like 12:30. So
wow,
yeah, it was pretty much shut down when I came through, and that was 65.
And it's hurricane evacuation.
Yep.
There's a bunch of Florida tags.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Florida tags. So again, if you're listening in Florida, please get out. Just go.
Yeah,
go someplace safe.
We got friends and family down there. We got property that they'd tell us what the damage was going to be probably sometime at the end of next week. But I've got family that's trying to stick it out. They live in Gainesville, and so they're like, oh, no, nothing's going to happen. So we'll see.
See, I've got family. Mandy's my wife's sister, two of her sisters and her nephew. She lives just outside of Gainesville in St. Augustine, and she's a nurse, so she doesn't leave. She's staying there at the hospital with her patients. But her younger sister and her son, we've told them, hey, our house is open. But Army friends of mine that are stationed down in Florida, I've already contacted them and said, hey, as soon as you get to Birmingham, pull into my driveway. You're all welcome.
Right.
Whether they do it or not, I don't know. But if you're listening in Florida, get out.
Yep.
Just get out. From what James Spann says, that when the storm comes to us, when it skirts up the Alabama Georgia line, it's going to be, tropical storm strength. But we are going to be on the western side of the eye, which is the side you want to be on.
Yeah, the quote unquote good side.
Right. So we'll only see gusts of 55 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard to refute, and Earl, you can jump in here, but I have tried to refute the whole global warming thing.
Right.
And the most powerful storm in history, which, of course, when in the 1700s, they weren't really recording hurricane strength, right?
Right.
So maybe the most powerful storm on record, I might go that far, but it's getting harder and harder to refute logically and scientifically the whole man-made global warming causing storm nonsense. What do we do?
Really? You say it's getting harder to refute it?
Well, it's just because, I know the facts. I know that it has nothing to do with it. I know that we're in hurricane season. I know that the storms are going to happen and they're going to hit wherever they're going to hit. It's not like we can control them, but
but they say we can control them. That whole HAARP or whatever it is.
Doesn't it just fuels the fire of the diseased liberal mind to say, see, there's another one called Jose out there in the Atlantic, and it's going to kill all you Republicans. Am I just banging my head against the wall?
No, I don't think so. I think they're losing their minds a little bit on it because of the fact that, it's the weather pattern that all this happens. Every so many years, decades go by. Sometimes you have a a stronger hurricane season. Sometimes you have a weaker hurricane season. For my life, they've been predicting it pretty accurately about how quickly it would be or how severe it would be. Now, I don't think anybody thought that this particular storm, I don't think they thought Irma was going to be as dangerous as it was or is. But, Category 5 and that eye on it, that eye was awesome. The pictures from the International Space Station, man, the pictures were awesome. Unbelievable.
When they zoomed down on it, and it was like normally in a hurricane you see a circle.
Right.
This one was literally sucking sharks out of the water. This thing is so cool. I mean, I think it's going to be raining fish in Puerto Rico for like 3 days.
Yeah, that the billionaire that owns Virgin, Richard Branson, they said that his flamingos are probably dead because he couldn't get them off of the island. He got all the other exotic pets off, but they said flamingos stand in a line when there's a hurricane, and they take turns switching who's going to be the head of the line to take the brunt from the hurricane. And they said that none of them flew off, so they're probably all, gone.
Kind of like Republicans in Congress. They just get in a line and see who's going to take the brunt of whatever they throw at them. Okay. So, again, we want all of our friends down in Florida to know Alabama's going to be relatively safe. I know Talladega Super Speedway. By the way, if you're not a NASCAR fan, you're listening to the wrong show.
All right.
Just saying. Talladega Super Speedway is going to be opening up their campgrounds for folks that are looking. I know I was going to be in a career fair. Every year I go and I do this career fair in the area we live for juniors and sophomore and junior high school students. We have thousands of kids come through, and I tell them why they should not get in radio. Pretty much that's what I do. And some of them never listen. They all come to me and ask for jobs. I don't know why, but So I was going to be there, and they said, no, the venue, the career center area, it's just this big open thing, is going to be full of evacuees. So, Alabama, the counties of Alabama opening up their venues, opening up their homes. I know several friends of mine are opening up their homes to family and friends coming out of Florida. And again, if we could just get the roadways, just stay off the roads, stay off the roads, let those people get out. I saw a picture earlier today from James Spann of I-75 coming out of Florida, and it was a parking lot.
Have they done, in the picture, could you see if they've done both sides of the interstate yet? Because
not yet. They hadn't done that yet. That's typically the way it happens, but they hadn't done that. The left side was still open southbound.
Right, okay.
I kind of want to have one of those tsunami balls. Have you seen those things?
No.
Mr. Producer, you know what a tsunami ball is?
No, I do not. What is it?
All right, so just before we go to break, I want to talk about. So I thought about how much fun it would be. It's a sphere that's weighted at the bottom, and it's on little stands. And when the tsunami comes, you get in it, and it's waterproof, and you ride out the tsunami in the tsunami ball.
I just looked it up. This is an awesome looking thing.
Yes, I want a tsunami ball. I don't know why. I just do. All right. I have completely lost audio, so we'll be right back. You're listening to Earl and George. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hey, you, over yonder. You're listening to Earl and George.
George, did you fix your audio problems?
No, I got it. I got it. It just sounds, Mario Andretti sounded older than normal. Welcome back to Earl and George. Yeah, being on Skype in the Smoky Mountains does not make for high-speed internet.
Right.
Let me just say that. It got a little weird there. But I'm glad Mario Andretti is a Meal on Wheels volunteer. That's all I'm going to say. So, Planned Parenthood. We all know Planned Parenthood, right?
Right.
Our friends and our buddies at Planned Parenthood sent out an email trying to fundraise this past week, and it included the line. And I tried to pull up the actual email, but I couldn't find it. Strangely, I'm not subscribed to Planned Parenthood. Go figure. So, in a fundraising email regarding the Dream Act and the Dreamers and DACA and all that stuff, the line in the email said, quote, "We firmly believe that every person has a right to live."
Wow.
You can imagine that it did not take long for the Twittersphere or the internet to come down on them like a ton of bricks.
Right.
How hypocritical can an organization that makes its money, some of its money, okay, let's be honest, make some of its money,
the majority,
killing babies. Yeah, the majority. Killing babies. And yeah, hang on. Let me try that again because I'm on a delay. Let me try that. We'll just edit that part out. Here we go. People think we do the show live anyway. How can an organization that makes the majority of its money killing babies and selling body parts actually have the gall to write in an email that every person has the right to live?
Right. Do you have the full or the little screen grab of the email that's put up? Because it's pretty funny.
Go ahead. I couldn't. I tried to get it, but my internet's so bad I can't get it.
Yeah, this is from Twitter, and it says they just took a screen grab of one of the emails or part of the email, and it says, "Here at Planned Parenthood, we firmly believe that every person has the right to live, work, and raise their family freely and without the threat of deportation or separation. We believe in every person's right to control their own destiny and their own body." So,
yeah, outside of murder in the womb.
Exactly.
We believe every person has the right to.
Well, they say that the babies in the womb aren't people, so that's how they're getting away with that statement. That's why they don't see any error in that statement. So,
right. And of course, some of the were you able to pull up some of the Twitter comments?
Yeah, the first one is exactly what you said, except for the human being inside the womb.
Yeah, right.
And then this other guy's like, nothing could be more ironic. This dude says, the lack of self-awareness here is incredible. And on and on and on. There's like 100 of them showing.
I've got some quotes from it. Planned Parenthood self-proclaimed moral high ground in regards to DACA. Quote, "The plan to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program has spurred plenty of moral indignation on the left." And it's this is from Matt Walsh. And it's especially weird sort of moral indignation, weird given the source that involves leftists complaining about alleged injustice and cruelty towards children. How can I sit with a straight face and listen to lectures about cruelty from people who think it's cool to butcher a human being and sell his body parts to a research lab?
Yep.
Like, I'm just going to go ahead and say that Matt Walsh is smarter than us.
Yes, indeed. I love reading his columns.
I need some more apple pie moonshine. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
But it still looks like you have a half glass. I see you.
You still got the video
open. I'm on glass. I'm on glass number 2. All right. So my whole take on that is Planned Parenthood are leftist, disease-minded individuals.
Indeed.
I don't know what else to say. And when an illegal alien is more important or has a higher value, and I'm not trying to say that the human being that came here that falls under DACA does not have a high value, but apparently, according to Planned Parenthood, they have a higher value. See, this is the whole, here we go. You ready, Earl? Here we go.
Yeah.
Everybody get on your tinfoil hats. George is about to go up the crazy tree. Y'all climb with me. Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger was the driving force behind Planned Parenthood. Now, everybody on the right that has half a brain cell and is sane knows that Margaret Sanger's reason for starting Planned Parenthood was why, Earl?
To exterminate the Negro population, and that's a quote directly from her.
That is a direct quote, okay? To exterminate the Negro population. Now, everybody on the left says, hey, man, it's my body, my choice.
Right.
Okay? Now, Margaret Sanger was also a eugenicist.
Yep.
Okay? So she was part of the Woodrow Wilson crowd of eugenicists that said, you need to be able to prove your value and your worth to society.
Wow.
Okay? That is a very National Socialist view of the population. Oh, that's right. Who are the National Socialists again?
I don't know. Which party would that be?
I believe that's the Nazi Party.
There you go. That's it. I forgot.
So, literally, you had to prove that you brought some value to society, and if you couldn't, then you were no value to society and were, what? I don't know, gassed? Maybe a little Zyklon B shower, you know?
Right.
That's Margaret Sanger, people. That's the person who started and championed Planned Parenthood to, quote, exterminate the Negro race, end quote. Why? Because she didn't think black people, human beings, had value in society. Well, now we have Planned Parenthood saying that they still believe this crap.
Right.
That one group of people has more value to society than another group of people. That group of people today for Planned Parenthood happens to be illegal aliens in the United States of America that were brought here as children.
Yep.
They have more value than an American mother and father having an American child.
It's crazy.
If you are a liberal and you stumbled upon this show by accident and you support Planned Parenthood, you're a complete and total moron, and you are the problem.
Yep. I don't see how anybody can justify killing a baby, but that, again, if for any reason, but that's just me, my Catholic doctrine there.
Now, I have been down this road 1,000 ways, and I have found a way to justify terminating a pregnancy.
All right.
The only way to justify terminating a pregnancy is if the life of the mother is in jeopardy. We all know this argument.
Right.
And I would wager that the majority of the time, the mother would give up her life for the child.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not... People say, oh, you know, George, you're anti-abortion. No, I'm anti-stupidity. I'm pro-life.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good point.
Lots of people die all the time. And if it came down to it, and one of the two people in that delivery room was going to die, the husband, and I can only speak for myself, would say, save my wife's life. The mother would typically say, save the baby's life.
Right.
I don't know any mother that's going to be like, kill it and get it out. I'm more important.
Well,
that's not what human beings think.
Except if they're on the left.
Well, it's their body, their choice.
Yeah.
Right? I want to take this one step further and just answer this DACA question real quick. And I saw something that came across my desk that summed it up in like one sentence. And it said, if your parents snuck you into Disney World and were caught, would you be arguing for the kids to stay? No, you'd be kicked out too. But it wasn't your fault they snuck you in.
Right. I saw one that I saw one that was a little bit, I think it, hit the nail on the head a little bit clearer, was if your parents robbed a bank and then they gave the kids all of the money and the kids were living this lavish lifestyle off of the money and the feds finally caught up with them and arrested the parents, would you expect the kids to go to prison because they had the money, or how much of that money would you let the kids keep? So that one really brought it home for me the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like that one better than the Disney World. I messed up the Disney World one. But yeah, that's good. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the president who makes a deal with the Democrats. We haven't had one of those in a while. Oh, wait. We lived through 8 years of that. It's Earl and George. We'll be right back.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You know you're in the South when everyone calls you darling or hun or sweetheart and you don't care. You're listening to Aged Conservative Talk. Earl and George. Right.
That was a little messed up, but I was going like, hold on, but it looked like you were giving me the thumbs up, so I was like...
I was good. No, I was all right with that.
It was a little sloppy. But...
No, let me do that right. That's all right, hon.
There you go.
Welcome back. It's Earl and George. It is Aged Conservative Talk. My name is Earl. Excuse me. I do that all the time. My name is George.
Yeah, and I would be Earl, I think.
He's Earl, and then Mr. Producer is that voice in the background.
Somewhere.
He presses all the buttons and turns all the knobs and makes us sound as good as we do. And again, for those of you that don't know, today's a weird day. I'm not in the studio with Earl and Mr. Producer. While the roads are blocked with Hurricane Irma evacuation where my friends are, I'm actually broadcasting from a mountaintop in Tennessee. Salute.
As long as you don't start singing Rocky Top, we're good.
So I took my drone out yesterday. I've got a little drone that I fly around, and I was just wanting to catch some video. And I flew up above the cabin that we're in, and it got a beautiful shot of the whole valley and everything. We're up on top of a mountain. And we're actually down like one mountain away. So I decided I saw some horses yesterday, and I flew over the horses, maybe, I don't know, half a mile away, and I started to descend over the horses, right?
Right.
I thought, man, it's going to be some really cool video when they hear the drone above them and take off running. So then I lose link with it. And I'm like, oh no, oh God, no, oh gee, oh God, no, right? Because it goes into return home, which means it goes up to a certain altitude and then flies back to where it took off from. The problem is there's a mountain between where me and the drone was. So that's the closest I came to crashing my drone into a mountain.
So when it returned home, it came back to you?
Well, yes, but it has sense and avoid technology. So it was flying along, and as the ground was coming up to meet it up the hillside, it basically said, wait a minute, something, and stopped. Right? And I thought it would gain altitude again, which it's supposed to do. And that's when I caught it and brought it back manually. And then if that's not bad enough, as I was flying the drone back up over the mountain, a red-tailed hawk decided that it looked yummy.
Wow.
And my wife is outside, and I'm like, honey, I think I crashed the drone. Oh, there it is. I got it. And I'm flying it back, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, that bird better not attack my drone. Like, I'm really. And sure enough, it went down on it, and it flew down on it, and then kind of peeled off. And Man.
Huh. But no damage, right?
No damage at all. But the video of me trying to get that thing out of the sky, like emergency land it amongst all the trees. I didn't have a big landing zone. I wasn't in a big field. Trying to get it back down through all the trees to the cabin with a red-tailed hawk, thinking that it's a treat. I haven't flown it since. I'll be honest. I'm scared, man.
You need to send the video to AFV.
I am so scared to fly my drone. My wife says I need to put something on it that makes a high-pitched screech. Because right now it just sounds like a bee's nest.
Right.
But when I saw the hawk dive on it, dude, like, I went crazy trying to land the thing. Oh, yeah, that was yesterday. That was a good day. All right. back to the big show. So President Trump, last week, Earl, we talked about the debt ceiling.
Right.
And I tried on my really bad Smoky Mountain cabin internet to pull up what the debt ceiling law actually was. Because we're hovering, 19-something trillion dollars, right? You're pulling it up right now. I can probably imagine you're pulling up debtclock.org.
Right. We are, hold on, where'd it go? It just crashed on me. We are at 19.9 trillion.
Almost 20.
$19.9 trillion.
Yep.
I don't know what the law says, but I'm banking that 20 trillion's the limit.
Yeah, could be. I could have sworn though when Obama was asking to do it, I could have sworn they said that it was 19. So I think they've even moved it a little bit further up for that. Hold on,
I think not. I don't know. Yeah, I looked that one up because I think it was 20 trillion. But I think what they've done, and this shocked a lot of Republicans, but you and I talked about this last week. I don't think we should do. We have to cut spending.
Yep.
I mean, we know this. We have to cut spending. So Chuck Schumer's out there, and he's blasting around this plan of, we're going to send disaster relief funding to Hurricane Harvey. Oh, and by the way, we're going to raise the debt ceiling. That's literally how that went, right?
Right.
The plan overruled the views of the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, who did not support the idea of caving for such a short-term debt ceiling hike in exchange for disaster relief aid. Believe it or not, President Trump and the Treasury Secretary don't want just a 3-month debt ceiling increase. They want a longer one.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Remember last week we played the audio of Steve Mnuchin at the press briefing, and he said, the president and I are 100% confident the debt ceiling will be raised.
Yeah.
So Schumer, Democrat in New York, Chucky Schumer, he's out there and he says, look, we have to send disaster relief to the people of Houston. Yes. Next week it'll be, or 2 weeks from now, it'll be Florida. But we have a Republican president and a conservative, supposedly, Treasury Secretary saying we're going to raise the debt ceiling, but they only got, Schumer's plan was only 3 months. Trump wanted longer. So Ben Sass comes out, who is he is a Republican senator from Nebraska, and says he wants to file an amendment to reject the president's deal with Democrat leaders while still providing funding for Hurricane Harvey relief. Now, last week, actually, was it this week? I think it was this week. I think it was Tuesday. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday. A clean bill passed the House of Representatives for Hurricane Harvey relief. How much debt ceiling was in that bill that passed the House?
I'm going to go out and say 10%.
0.
Are you kidding me?
A clean Hurricane Harvey relief bill passed the House with a vote of 419 to 3.
Wow.
It was one of the most lopsided House of Representatives votes in recent history. And it had nothing to do with the debt ceiling. Then all of a sudden, boom, the senator, the minority leader, Chuck Schumer, introduces a bill that says, yeah, disaster relief for Hurricane Harvey. And by the way, we're going to raise the debt ceiling. And the president says, okay, I'll sign it. The president of the United States was just played by the entire Democratic Senate.
Yep, indeed.
Yep. Ben Sass says, yesterday we saw Washington's swamp continue to rise. Chuck Schumer, this is a quote. Chuck Schumer wrote The Art of the Steal by taking hurricane relief hostage to guarantee a December showdown that favors Democratic spending priorities. Quote, Republicans should reject Schumer's deal and instead pass the same clean aid package for Harvey victims that the House passed yesterday. Quote, my legislation would let Congress send a disaster relief bill to the president's desk so we can help Americans in need right now and then go to work tackling the disorder of our fiscal house, end quote.
Wow.
On Twitter, Sass continued his rant, quote, we should fund emergency hurricane relief. We shouldn't spend money pretending it's emergency hurricane relief. Well done, Ben Sass. Right. I completely agree with this. Earl?
Yeah, I mean, the debt ceiling is one of those things that makes no sense to me, but I'm glad Mnuchin, he kind of let me down when he was saying that, it's going to be raised, because Mnuchin has been a phenomenal Secretary of Treasury, in my opinion, in terms of like his business plan or his tax plan and everything. So for him to be on board with it, I was like, what? So that kind of threw me for a loop. But the entire thing, again, as being a fiscal conservative, I would rather the budget be passed and everything be brought under the spectrum of, maybe we don't need to be borrowing more money to pay our bills. Maybe we need to start cutting out some of these bills because, like you said, you and I in our house, if there's something that we can't pay or, everything, the bill's getting higher, it's not like we can say to our utility companies, hey, why don't you just raise the debt ceiling for me so that I can pay you at another time? No, we either cut out whatever's the most expensive thing or we find a way to pay it by getting another job or whatever. So the government needs to start thinking in terms of the household budget instead of, an unending spree of being able to borrow money. And that's just my tangent on the thing.
And you're exactly right. Here's why this is so dangerous. It is so dangerous because these things, okay, I used to be a government accountant when I was in the military. It's one of the many jobs that I had in the military was to be a government accountant for a specific unit. But I learned how government accounting works. And we started years ago, probably during the Bush administration, with these things called continuing resolution authorities, the CRAs, right? So there was no need to pass a budget.
Right.
So when the president, who, by the way, is the chief executive, his job, one of the main roles of the executive branch, is to put forth a budget for all of the branches of government, for all of the spending in government, years in advance. Then the House of Representatives starts chipping away at that because why? They're the ones who control the actual money of the United States of America.
Yep.
You can't spend money without the authorization to spend that money, the obligation from the House of Representatives. You can't do it. There is no money to spend unless the House passes the bill. Then the Senate gets involved, okay? And they start negotiating. It goes into committee, and that law, that fiscal law, goes into committee into a reconciliation bill, and that gets sent to the president. The president signs that budget into law. That means that it is law.
Right.
Okay? The only way to undo that budget, add things to it, take things away, is with another law. However, with the continuing resolution authority, you don't ever have that budget. You don't ever have that law. You just simply have a blank check that you keep adding zeros to. So that's where we are. We need to stop with the CRA. We need to stop doing these continuing resolution authorities. They do 2 or 3, maybe 4 of them a year. We've got to keep the government open. We've got to keep the government running. Okay, but what does your budget say? What is the spending that you're supposed to be spending on, right? If you have a budget for F-18s, what's that budget? If you've got a budget for carriers, what's that budget? If you've got a budget for house travel and interns and motor vehicle gas and the purchase of new cars and how much is this pen I'm holding, then follow the budget.
Right.
But the Congress hasn't passed a budget in almost 12 years, man. Look up how long it's been since Congress passed a budget. I don't want to.
We didn't have one under Obama, so.
We didn't have one budget passed. I think the record was like 2,000 days or something like that.
Really? Huh.
I may have been more than that, maybe 5,000. I mean, it's 365 days in a year, so 3 years is almost 1,000. This is more than 1,000 days. So we didn't have a budget passed for years. I know it's been over a decade.
Yeah, the only thing.
But that's the problem.
The only thing I came up with was the Washington Times article. Cinco de Mayo in 2015 said that they passed their first budget in 6 years. So in 2015 was our first budget in 6 years.
And that wasn't even a true budget. See,
right.
If you dig deeper into that, that wasn't an actual. I'm submitting a budget and Congress passes it and signs it into law by the president. Like I think the House passed the budget, but the Senate never did. And look up the last time the president signed a budget into law.
All right.
And see what happens. So this is just another continuing resolution authority where, let's say we do one every quarter. They're simply kicking the can down the road. By the way, it's interesting that the Democrats are the ones that putting this forward. It's what they do all the time.
Yeah.
Kick the can down the road. Hey, ready for this? Here's the most shocking part. They are the minority party in Congress.
For right now, yeah.
What is Paul Ryan doing?
Dude, I'm stuttering because I hate the man so much.
What is Paul Ryan doing? Paul Ryan is the Speaker of the House. Paul Ryan is the one working with the budget committee. Paul Ryan is the one who's supposed to, and he's like, oh, the Ryan budget. It didn't get passed. He's the one working with the president trying to pass a budget, and Schumer is the one, the minority leader is the one that says, hey, we're going to kick the CRA out there. We're gonna pass this continuing resolution authority under the guise of hurricane spending. Right. But a bill passed the House. The Republican House voted 413-3 to give money to Hurricane Harvey victims for rebuilding and hurricane relief in Texas. And now the senators, where's McConnell? Where's Mitch McConnell doing? Not really Paul Ryan. In the Senate, where the heck is Mitch McConnell?
That's another one. He's up there with Waters for me right now. So,
I mean, it's unbelievable. Is it? So Chuck Schumer, right, puts forth the CRA. The president's like, yeah, definitely need to do that. Are you kidding me, Mr. President?
Right.
I think we should all stand behind Ben Sasse, Republican of Nebraska. No, Mr. President. Do not raise the debt ceiling. But here's the problem. He wanted a bigger raise. He didn't want just 3 months setting up another fight in December. He probably wanted a 5-year, knowing Trump. He wanted to carry through his entire presidency. Yeah, man, raise that sucker to $30 trillion. No one will care.
I hope not.
And I can't believe I'm saying that about the president, but it's killing me. So here's what Ryan had to say. We'll be taking a break here in just a second, but here's what Ryan had to say as he was asked about this, the president going along with it. Originally, he said it was disgraceful and ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember that.
When Trump announced that he was going to take the deal. Now, in the first interview for House Speaker since President Trump announced his deal with Democrats to increase the debt ceiling, Ryan explained why Trump made the decision and called it, quote, perfectly reasonable and rational, end quote.
By the way, the last time a budget was signed by a president was 2007.
Thank you. It has been a decade. By the way, folks, don't take what we have to say on this show as gospel. Go do your own research. It's Earl and George. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about our friends at the Ninth Circuit Court of Lunacy. Don't go anywhere.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Chris, you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
There's your comic book collection, the race car bed.
I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I'm taking control over my financial life, and that feels pretty grown-up to me.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. Are those footy pajamas?
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Mama always said God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. You're listening to Earl and George.
That's the truth, but hurricanes will knock your socks off. Hey, we want to thank everybody for listening all over the world. Thank you guys so much for downloading and sharing. Spreaker is huge. Thank you guys for listening live on Spreaker. SoundCloud's going real well. And thank you so much for downloading the Earl and George iPhone app. Stitcher is huge. I mean, Earl, talk about it, man.
We are up to 190 unique listeners now, and believe it or not, the two biggest places that are listening to us in the country are, ready for it, Texas and Alabama. Alabama had, we spiked in Alabama this last week.
Of course, Texas.
Right.
And Alabama. Now, that's just the downloads. Of course, this is not just a podcast. Radio stations around the country will eventually be picking us up. We're talking to 2 right now who become our affiliates, but not bad for being on the air for 7 weeks.
Right. Somebody likes
Not bad at all. And thank all you crazy people for listening to us. Go out to earlandgeorge.com. I really haven't had time to work on the store, but we've got more swag out there. If you want an Earl and George t-shirt, they're beautiful. They come in, we got 4 or 5 different colors you could choose from. They got our logo on the front, a big logo on the back, and I'm still working on the Founding Father flannel.
Triple F.
I found all kinds of the Triple F. Yep. I found a bunch of other stuff we can slap our logo on. Look, man, I'm a capitalist.
Yep, you and me both.
Okay, if Gene Simmons can sell CDs from 1972 with his name on them, I'm going to sell T-shirts.
Right, and condoms. He puts his logo on condoms.
He sells condoms.
Yep.
All right, coming up at the end of next hour, of course, I forgot to announce our douche of the week. So, Mr. Producer, now's your chance for a well-thought-out candidate for douche of the week. You've been kind of lazy the last 6 weeks. So I just want to know. I just want to make sure.
Are you sure?
That you've got a well thought out douche of the week candidate for this week.
Yeah, he means no more token douches.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's gonna come up with a token douche.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying he's got time. He's got time.
Okay.
By the way, you can join us at 800-684-9925. Call the number. Nobody's going to answer. You can also send us a text message on Spreaker. No one will answer because we're lazy and also we're busy. But we like to have interaction. You can jump on our Facebook page, send us a message on Earl and George. And if you see EF Official Earl or EF Official George, it's pretty easy to figure out who it is. We're sharing stuff all the time out on our social media. Now, Earl, before I keep calling you George, I don't know why I do that. Why do I do that? So before I get to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, I want to go back to a story real quick, which means I want to take it the rest of the hour. Because this is going to be one of those stories where you're like, keep talking about it, because the mainstream media is not talking about it. All right.
Before you jump in there, I gotta correct you. You said that our pages were EF official, and it's EG official.
Oh, EAG official.
Yeah, EG. Remember, he's had moonshine, people. So remember, he's drinking.
I'm about to polish off my second tall glass of. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Can you tell? Have I got a little more country? Yeah. Let me take another sip here.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Enjoy it. But it is EG Official Earl or EG Official George is our Facebook pages. And, of course, you can go to Earl and George's official page on Facebook. So just clearing that up.
I'm bringing back Earl, I'm bringing back about 6 mason jars full of moonshine.
Oh, wow.
And I've probably drank one already. Not today, but like since I've been here. Because I love this stuff, man. I'm telling you. If you go into my office, you see those moonshine cherries.
Yeah, I've seen them.
I haven't cracked the jar on that yet. I might get a second jar and just leave that one alone because they changed their packaging a little bit. But they got some new flavors that I really like. And yeah, I'm starting to slur pretty bad here. We got just over an hour to go. All right. So I want to talk about this story because a couple weeks ago, I ran down the entire timeline of our friend and yours, Imran Awan.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember this one.
For those of you that don't know, Imran Awan was an IT tech who had worked for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Awan and his wife worked for Wasserman Schultz as well as many other Democratic politicians as computer technology consultants, but tried to flee the country when they discovered they were subject of an investigation into a possible cybersecurity threat. I don't know about you, but Capitol Police takes their cybersecurity threats from a guy from Pakistan pretty dang seriously.
Yeah. Kind of weird.
So in a subsequent by the way, if you haven't heard this on the major news stories, no wonder they're trying to protect these Democrat politicians. And by the way, he had they got him at the airport and they wired a bunch of money to Pakistan so they could go there and live and all that stuff.
It was over $500,000.
This is movie stuff. This is like movie stuff. James Bond could not have got these guys better, but he'd have capped them because he's a 00, right?
Right.
In new details uncovered this week about the scandal surrounding the computer tech of former DNC chair and current Florida Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz will be very troubling to those wishing the story would go away. Our friend Carlos Garcia wrote this story. According to a report from the Daily Caller, Imran Awan, the tech who was arrested for bank fraud, left a laptop in a small public room at the Rayburn House office building for U.S. Capitol Police to discover.
Dude.
Let me say that again. Imran Awan left a laptop in a small room intentionally at the Rayburn House office building specifically so that U.S. Capitol Police would find it.
Wow. Wonder what was on it.
You ready?
Can he be the douche of the week?
What'd you say?
Could he be the douche of the week?
No, but listen to who is.
Okay.
This is the exact laptop that Wasserman Schultz threatened the chief of the Capitol Police over in a now infamous video from an exchange in May.
Dude, that is awesome. I remember that.
Quote, if the member loses the equipment, says they lose the equipment, and it is found by the Capitol Police, it should be returned, Wasserman Schultz said in a very tense interaction with the chief of Capitol Police. He explained that it could not be returned if there was an ongoing criminal investigation. Wasserman Schultz repeated herself. If the equipment belongs to the member and it has been lost, they say it has been lost, and it is identified as that member's, the Capitol Police should return it, end quote.
That's a baby pitching a fit trying to get its way.
The laptop has been found because it was specifically left in a small room by Imran Awan as insurance to be found.
Yep. That is awesome.
The plot thickens.
Oh, wow. More?
Now, you ready?
Yep.
She knew he had it. That's why she was in May screaming at them about getting it back.
Wow.
Why does she want the laptop back so bad? And why did he intentionally leave it for the Capitol Police to find?
Right? What's on it? I want to know what's on it.
there is a trail of breadcrumbs that are about to be exposed. Let me continue with the story. With the laptop, other items were discovered, including a Pakistani ID card, copies of Awan's driver's license and his congressional ID badge, and letters to a U.S. attorney, to the U.S. attorney. Awan was arrested in late July while apparently trying to flee the country. He was indicted in August on 4 counts, including bank fraud and giving a false statement to authorities. His wife has also been indicted as a co-defendant. Awan and his wife worked for Wasserman Schultz. Okay. Rather than fire Awan, Wasserman Schultz kept him on her office's payroll, fueling speculation that there's much more to the story that is currently known.
Of course.
In August, a U.S. Marine who rented Awan's home in Virginia and a key witness in the investigation went public to contradict Wasserman Schultz's accusation that poor old Awan was being targeted because of, you guessed it, Islamophobia.
Oh, my God.
See, I thought you were going to say a banana in a tree.
Andre Taggart told the Daily Caller that he discovered destroyed computer hard drives that Awan abandoned when he tried to flee to Pakistan. He cited media bias in their coverage of Awan's story as the reason for his public statements. This is what Taggart said, quote, him, his wife, his brother, all working down there. There's no way they could do this without help. If we can drag Trump and his wingnuts through the mud for the Russia influence that they are having, then it's only fair that we expose those. Can we get the tone ready here? The Russian influence that they have, then it's only fair that we also expose this.
Oh. Let's do that one more time. How about that?
If we can drag Trump and his wingnuts through the mud for the Russian influence, blah, 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 then it's only fair that we expose this.
Oh, wow.
Media critics have noted how little interest the mainstream media has shown in the story, while conservative outlets continue to document every development in search for more answers. So the laptop has been found.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I was going to do that, but I was like,
Yeah, so I can't wait to see what's on the laptop either. I'm thinking it's all of the good, juicy blackmail information that Awan had on Wasserman Schultz. I believe it contains all of the emails between her, Podesta, and Hillary Clinton regarding all of their election stuff. I believe that all kinds of stuff. I believe Awan has been storing information from Democratic senators and, House members for years and using it to blackmail them for millions upon millions of dollars. You don't hire a guy from McDonald's to be your IT guy at the Capitol.
Right.
By the way, I'm sitting in the most uncomfortable chair devised by the human mind.
Well, I can see a little kind of setup right here. It doesn't look very, very fancy.
It's horrible. Yeah, you're looking on video. I'm in a walk-in closet.
That has
with
what is that?
With
towels?
blankets.
Blankets. I get you.
So yeah, that's the thing. That laptop is now part of an investigation, and every computer forensic guy in the country, including me, wants a crack at it.
Yeah.
Now, here's how it works. You ready? I'm a computer security guy. They take that hard drive, right?
Yep.
They hash it, right? They get an MD5 hash of that hard drive. For those of you who don't know what that is a big long string of numbers. They crunch all the data down to a big long string of numbers, and then if any bit on that hard drive changes, that number changes.
Right.
So you can make copy after copy after copy of that hard drive, and as long as the two hash numbers match, that's an exact copy of the data. And then it goes through a chain of custody. So they keep the original hard drive, make a bunch of copies of it, compare those hashes together, and then they do their computer forensics on the copy of that, the exact copy of that hard drive. So the hard drive in that laptop is going to be around for a long time for people to look at. When we come back next hour, we will talk about the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. It's again being stupid. Also, I want you to meet our friend, Ding Dong Dennis, and how he sings karaoke with the zit on a pig, Kim Jong-un. We'll be back next hour. It's Earl and George, Age Conservative Talk.
Welcome back to The Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts.
It's like she owns the place.
And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. By the way, George is the cute one.
Yes, I am.
I'm still waiting for mine, my little clip.
What do you want it to say?
Oh, I don't.
She's downstairs.
I'm the wild one.
Be like, by the way, Earl is the wild one.
Yeah, I'll let you take the cute one. I'll be the wild one.
Welcome back to Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk, and we want to thank everybody for spreading the word. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. It's Aged Conservative Talk. Sometimes we talk about yesterday's news because we are a wrap-up show. All of the things that happened throughout the week, we talk about them from a political standpoint. We are both constitutional conservatives, and we know the difference between right and wrong. But we don't want you to take what we say on this show as the gospel. Go look it up for yourself. Make up your own mind. Call us at 800-684-9925. Send us messages on Facebook or on Spreaker or however else you want to get in touch with us, and let us know what you think. We would love to talk about it. Again, I want to real quick at the top of the hour talk to everybody down in Florida. Hurricane Irma is a serious deal. I know you've been through a lot. If you've lived there through Andrew and you boarded up your windows and you've got plywood up, that's great. Okay? This is not like Andrew.
No, it's way worse.
This hurricane, and especially for those of you that are going to be on the east side of the eye, which is now looks like it's going to be Orlando, Gainesville, St. Augustine, Jacksonville, all the way up the eastern coast of Florida, you guys are about to get your faces punched in.
Yep.
Take this storm very seriously. If you have the means to evacuate. If you've got a boat, get the heck out. Okay? If you've got a car, which most of you probably do, get out. If you've got loved ones, get them to a shelter. I know the hospitals have shelter. I know my sister-in-law can't leave St. Augustine. She's a nurse. She will be there with her patients. They have generators, and they've got to ride that storm out. But it is going to be a serious, serious storm when it comes up through the Keys. If you don't believe me, go out to YouTube and search what it did to what it's doing to Puerto Rico. What it did to what's that little island that where all the planes come in real low?
Right.
What is that one?
I don't. That's the one with the funny name. Yeah, I can never remember.
Aquila, something like that. There's the St. Croix took a beating. The Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. It's coming up to the northern tip of Cuba. My brother-in-law is stationed at Guantanamo Bay.
Wow.
It's coming up through, and it is going to come. It's going to turn north. It's going to come across the Keys. And I know when you're standing at the quote-unquote southernmost point of the United States. They got that, little black and red thing sitting there. You can see a little island just off the coast of the continental United States. That is going to be underwater. That entire island will be underwater.
Yeah, Turks
this is a serious storm.
Turks and Caicos were destroyed by it.
Yeah. A buddy of mine just got back from Turks and Caicos a couple months ago. He said he had a great time there, and it doesn't exist.
Yep.
Okay, this is a huge storm. This storm is so wide, it is from the western border of Alabama to the eastern border of Georgia wide.
Wow.
It is massive.
Yeah, the waves that hit Turks and Caicos were like 20 feet high, so that's one of the things that everybody's worried about is the storm surge and everything.
And that's when you
Miami.
need a tsunami ball.
Exactly. That's why thank you. Now, how much fun would it be? You talked about Richard Branson earlier. He loves to go over waterfalls in his little capsule thing.
Right.
How much fun would it be to be in your tsunami ball and just kind of ride out? Right?
I'd be scared of where I'd end up landing. That'd be my only worry.
You always bob up and down. You always land the same. So you land flat. I know it says it's a tsunami ball, but it's designed when the tsunami comes in, it bobs up and down in the water.
Huh.
And yes, you bounce off of stuff. This thing's made out of like 6-inch steel. I mean, this is not a small thing, right?
Right.
But it's weighted so that your chair always is upright and the ball moves around you.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you got, when you land or wherever you get deposited, hopefully it'll get sucked out to sea. Right. I think it's tethered too. I don't know. It just kind of bobs up and down on the pedestal. But I want to be the first guy to ride out a tsunami in a tsunami ball. Is that my put on my bucket list?
I wonder if it's got like a limit of, what category storm it can survive through.
Who cares? It's a tsunami ball.
Well, you don't want to be in the tsunami and it's like a category, whatever they rate themselves, and that it's only rated for like a 3.
It's rated for category 2.
Yeah,
I know, but I want people to come over to the house and be like, yeah, that's my Jag, and I built that the other day. I got this waterfall in the backyard.
And then what's that? What's that, Gene?
That's my tsunami ball. And over here, let's go down into my man cave. What's this tsunami ball? You live 900 miles from the coast. What do you need a tsunami ball for? Because I'm the only guy around here who's got one.
And dude, they've got one that'll take a capacity of 10 adults.
How much are
these?
I'm looking for pricing. That's one of the reasons I was looking it up. They're not showing pricing. You got to call for a quote.
Then that must mean
it's one of those.
Expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive.
My other thought was to build a homemade submarine. You seen those guys?
Yeah, the government will come calling once you do that.
Can you do that?
Look up. Yes,
no,
it is absolutely legal.
But is that even possible?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To make a submarine?
It just takes metal and welding. I mean, it's a little more than metal and welding, but that's the basics of it.
Yeah, they've got plans on the internet. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Hopefully you weld.
That was the other thing. Well, you weld in a double hull and stuff like that. There's a guy who built like a 30-footer. Got a 30-foot submarine sitting in his front yard.
Yeah,
look it up on the internet. It's amazing what people will do.
That's cool.
Yeah, building a submarine. Okay, we got to get back to the news here. But yeah, if you're in Florida, get out. Okay, back to the news of the week. Our friends at the Ninth Circuit Court of Lunacy are back at it again. Thursday, they ruled against the Trump administration again.
No.
On the president's controversial ban. Really? Is it controversial? It's only controversial if you don't like it.
All right.
U.S. Court of Appeals ruled against the Trump administration on Thursday on their controversial ban. Who wrote this one? Carlos Garcia. The greatest reporter to ever live. The ruling would allow grandparents, cousins, and other similar relations would allow. He left out a 2. Not so good at English there, Carlos. I'm just going to read the sentence the way he wrote it. The ruling would allow grandparents, cousins, and other similar relations would not be prevented from entering the country.
Wow.
Would allow, would not. I believe it's a double would. Need to go back to college. The Trump administration sought to narrow reading of the president's travel ban that would restrict grandparents, cousins, and others, but a unanimous decision from the Ninth Circuit Court of Lunacy disagreed with their opinion. The decision also said that the ban would not apply to refugees that were accepted into a resettlement agency. That I can see. The judges agreed with the decision of a judge in Hawaii who ruled against the Trump administration. In June, the Supreme Court, a higher court, said that the administration could implement the travel ban while they wait to argue their case before the court in October. But a Hawaii judge ruled against the administration's reading of, quote, bona fide relationships, end quote, that were excluded from the ban. Here's what Ninth Circuit Judge Richard Paez, it's a good old American name, isn't it?
Yep.
That was me being racist, by the way. Not really, because I don't really care. Quote, could you explain to me what's significantly different between a grandparent and a mother or father-in-law, end quote, Ninth Circuit Judge Richard Paez asked the Department of Justice lawyers. Now, before I read on, may I just answer the Honorable Judge Paez's idiotic question?
Go ahead, hit him with the truth.
Mother-in-law means that I am married to their daughter or son. Grandparent means they are my direct ancestor.
Yep.
What an idiotic question. You are a judge. You are a federally appointed judge, and you ask that question like you don't know the difference of the word in-law and parent?
The significant difference. He doesn't know the significant difference.
Exactly. Because, interestingly enough, grandparent has the word parent in it, but mother-in-law doesn't have the word parent in it.
In fact, it's mother only by law.
Yep. Not parent. So when the government calls bona fide relationships, they're talking about direct descendants or ancestors. Your son or daughter, your aunt or uncle, your father or mother, brother or sister, or grandmother or grandfather, at all. Now, we wanted to not do cousins. They are blood relations, but the government said, no, we're not going to do that. They also said in-laws. Okay, I'm perfectly okay with that. But here's what the Department of Justice lawyers, here's what Ninth Circuit Court Judge Richard Paez asked in a further question. What is so different about those two categories?
Wow.
Are you seriously asking that question? One is a direct relation. One is by marriage alone.
And he's a judge.
And he's a federal judge.
Wow.
In April, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions was criticized for deriding the ruling of the federal judge in Hawaii, stating, quote, I really am amazed that a judge sitting on an island in the Pacific can issue an order that stops the president of the United States from what appears to be clearly his statutory and constitutional power, end quote.
Yep.
The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has been much maligned by conservatives for handing down opinions they believed were far left and biased towards implementing progressive agenda items instead of following the law. Conservative commentator Charles Krauthammer called their decision about Trump's previous iteration of the travel ban disgraceful for imposing the court's judgment for what constitutes a threat to the American people for the president's judgment. We did not elect anyone who sits on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Right. This specific judge was he was appointed by Bill Clinton, by the way.
Sorry, drinking moonshine. Not one elected official. Not one elected official serves on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. America, listen to me. Not one person on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals was voted on. Not one. Not one sitting judge on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has the responsibility to protect the national security. Not one. Not one person, not one judge, no matter how honorable or not, sitting on that court has the responsibility under the Constitution to protect the sovereignty of our borders. Not one. Not one person on that court has the constitutional authority to grant or deny citizenship. Not one. Not one person on that court has the constitutional authority to make law, pass law, vote on law, or sign law. Not one. And yet, they constantly vote against things that the legally voted on Congress of the United States and the President of the United States, who do have the mandate for naturalization, for to sovereignly secure the borders of the United States, and to make and pass and sign law. They are constantly legislating from that bench. Constantly.
Yep. Much like a recent ruling by the Supreme Court, but we won't get into that.
Which ruling were you talking about?
That would be the Marriage Equality Act. Yeah.
Marriage equality. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not. That's
yeah. That's a whole other bag of worms. That's why I said.
Right, but look who's leading in the Alabama Senate runoff.
Right.
You want to talk about that when we come back from this break?
Sure.
Yeah, man. We'll talk about that. You bring that up. I'm sick of these judges. Several of them are my friends, not on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal, but lower courts. I have lots of judge friends. I tell them all the time, rule on the law. Is it constitutional? Is there precedent for the president to do this? Absolutely. End of story. And I would just like to point this out as a disclaimer. George from the Earl and George show ain't no lawyer. And they speak a completely different language. Legalese. I don't get it. But when a Ninth Circuit Court justice asks that stupid question, we got to look at who we're appointing. It's Earl and George. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn earrings today.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Michaela's got like the best earrings.
Sarah, buckle up.
I wish my name was Michaela.
We're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
It can be tough getting through to kids, but it's your job to make sure they're wearing your seatbelts. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Mama always said God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. You're listening to Earl and George.
Yes, you are. Broadcasting live from a mountaintop in Tennessee and the great state of Alabama at the same time. That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
You are in the middle of nowhere. I tried to send you a text message and it wouldn't even send.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't mind being in the sticks. I got moonshine. I got a creek out back. I got red-tailed hawks flying around trying to eat my drone.
You got a fire pit?
I got a fire pit out front. Yep. Did you see my Facebook Live video I put out the other day?
Yeah, I told you to bring some shine back.
Oh, I got... You don't worry about that, brother. Let me just kill this. I got one drink left in the bottom of this glass, my apple pie, moonshine, and apple juice concoction. I'm gonna call it an apple pie. Hang on one second. Talks amongst yourselves.
An apple pie.
Apple pie.
I can I can get down with that.
Yep.
That's
Double apple.
Double apple.
The apple pie. Okay. Oh, God, that is so good. Oh, man. Okay, so for the next 45 minutes, Earl, you might need to talk a little bit more than normal because I've had 2 of them tall glasses. And it's going to be a good day.
And they were pretty
you brought
tall.
Up at the end oh, yeah, they were pretty good. They were the size of my microphone.
Yeah.
You brought up at the end of last segment the Supreme Court's ruling on marriage equality.
Right.
Now, we're not going to rehash that. That was last year. We're not really going to do that. But it's interesting that you bring that up at this time because Alabama recently voted in a election, a Senate election, in the replacement seat for Jeff Sessions. Governor Kay Ivey had a special election. We had, six Republicans? 7?
Yeah.
7 Republicans and I think 2 Democrats running for the I dropped my pencil. Running for the seat. Democrats don't have a prayer. But the three leading Republican candidates were Mo Brooks, who, by the way, is one of the current representatives from the state of Alabama and a constitutional conservative. And since he lost, I can say the guy I voted for. By the way, I have a streak of voting for losers. Now, Trump was the last vote that I cast that won an election. Heck, I even voted for myself and lost. Okay, so they got a pretty high chance of losing if I'm voting for you. But I voted for Mo Brooks. He didn't win. But Judge Roy Moore, who I didn't know was even running.
Right.
And also Luther Strange. They call him Big Luther Strange. He was who was appointed to fill the seat when Sessions was appointed to Attorney General.
By our former disgraced governor.
Exactly. And why was Luther Strange appointed?
Because he...
Tinfoil hat time, people.
He buried the investigation against our former governor. He said he wasn't going to prosecute him.
As the Attorney General.
Right, I forgot that part. My bad.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
How did Luther Strange become the Attorney General?
I don't know. How did he become the Attorney General?
Well, it goes back to the Supreme Court vote on marriage equality.
Right. I forgot
Remember
all about
the story
that.
now?
Well, it's,
Tell everybody.
They're turning.
Tell everybody the story.
The wheels are turning. I somewhat remember it being that he promised that he was going to fight against any kind of ruling that came out from the state or from the country, but I could be wrong. I think I'm getting them confused. Big Luther Strange. I think I'm getting him confused with Roy Moore.
Mm-mm.
So
Roy Moore was the Attorney General.
Oh, what? Oh,
I'm sorry,
right.
Justice. He was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and he was removed.
And he's the one. Yep. Why was he removed?
Because he refused to go along with federal law.
Correct. He refused to implement the marriage equality, which means Alabama had to recognize marriage licenses from around the country for same-sex marriages.
Right.
Now, my whole stake on that was if we have to accept marriage licenses from other states around the country, they have to accept concealed carry permits from the state of Alabama.
Yep, exactly.
Which is exactly, by the way, what the Supreme Court law said. It said you have to accept a license issued in another state. And it actually does apply to concealed carry permits.
Huh. So
now, take that to court in New York and try to make it stick.
Right.
Good luck.
I was going to say that'll be a weak argument up in New York.
No. But that you could actually have a lawyer fight that because I read the law from the Supreme Court, right? And it said specifically licenses, not marriage licenses.
Interesting.
So Roy Moore, and now let me give you a little backstory on Roy Moore. For those of you around the country that don't know Judge Roy Moore, he was a no-name, low-level judge in Alabama who had a small 8.5 by 10, 8.5 by 11 picture hanging on the wall of his courthouse of the 10 Commandments.
Right.
He was ordered to remove the picture. He refused. Every single Christian in Alabama rallied to his defense. There were candlelight vigils. There was all kinds of nonsense. Okay, I'm a Bible believer. I believe in God, but I'm not one of those wacko, crazy Christians that's going to light a candle and sing because this guy wanted to have a 10 Commandments thing in his courtroom. All right.
You're also
I also drink moonshine.
You're a constitutionalist, so you would have
Yes.
to technically side with the Constitution on that one. Wouldn't
Which
you?
says what?
Well, there is that whole, loosely interpreted thing of separation of church and state. So,
Please tell me where in the Constitution that is.
isn't it the First Amendment, I believe?
No, absolutely not. If you'd like to get into a discussion about where the separation of church and state is, it is not in the Constitution. It was actually in a letter written, I believe it was Jefferson who wrote it. Look it up. I probably hear you typing right now. But you're right that the First Amendment says that we will establish no government religion or stop the free expression of any religion.
Right. That's
Okay?
probably what I was trying to I mean,
That's right.
Separation of church and state is not, okay, now I feel stupid for saying that, but yeah. Okay.
No. But you're not stupid. Not you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not in the Constitution. You wouldn't be on the show if you were stupid.
Thanks.
There's a lot of you're one of the smartest guys I know, believe me. Because I can say all this stuff and you're like, oh yeah, the wheels are turning. I got that one. I just have a better memory.
Yeah.
So the First Amendment of the United States, right, says a whole lot of stuff. People forget. They're like, oh, it's the freedom of speech. Yes, it is. It's also the freedom of a whole lot of other stuff. Freedom of religion. Okay? Freedom of religion, not from religion. You may practice your religion as you see fit. You may practice no religion if you so see fit. And the government will establish no religion.
Right.
Or stop you from performing the religion of your choice. Unless apparently you're a federal judge. And that way you can't have a Ten Commandments thing, a picture in your courtroom. That's the whole argument. There is no separation of church and state. Our government was founded by a bunch of people that believed there was a God.
Yes.
So this whole notion of separation of church and state is nonsense.
Well,
now, back to Roy Moore. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can see the argument if I'm in taking my faith and everything out of the equation. If I'm in a courtroom and let's say that I'm in court for, I'm just going to throw it out there. It's one of the worst things I can think of, beating up my wife. And I'm in front of a judge who has the 10 Commandments behind him, who is, quote unquote, a Bible thumper. Then I could see how he might be a little bit impartial or might be a little bit more leaning towards the whole Bible belt of men shouldn't do this type thing. And that might make me a little afraid to be in that guy's courtroom. That's the only thing I would say is I can understand the argument coming from the other side.
Even though the Bible says that you're not supposed to beat your wife with a stick bigger than your thumb.
Exactly.
So I don't understand your argument about that, because if we elect someone to the courtroom, I hope it would be based on their ability to rule from the Constitution, not from the Bible. Well, even though they believe in the Bible and believe its principles, they have to rule on law.
Which is kind of what I was getting at with the whole marriage equality thing that we didn't want to get into. But that's what I'm saying. If I wasn't a believer and I was in that dude's courtroom, I would be intimidated by a judge that was such a believer.
You'd probably be a little bit more afraid of a harsher sentence because, is that kind of what you're going at?
Yeah, I would be scared that he wouldn't be
as lenient.
There you go. That's the word. Thank you.
Does that make sense? Or
because of a picture hanging on the wall?
Yeah, because
Well, he's saying because I think what he's getting at is that the picture kind of leads on to him maybe being a stricter Christian or a quote unquote Bible thumper, and I could definitely see for even like a minor offense, like in terms of like if you had weed on you or something like that.
Right.
That might have been a better example than beating your wife because in California,
okay.
All
right,
like,
so let me ask.
Let
me ask the question. What if it wasn't the 10 Commandments, but Miss Playboy June 1996?
Well, again, that I don't think, and this is just me being a weird person, I don't think that the judges should have any kind of personal things in the courtroom, but that's just me.
Yeah,
I would agree. I would agree there, but you're making a judgment call based on one picture, but you obviously don't want to make a judgment call based on the other picture.
No, if it was the same dude, let's say it's the dude with weed. We'll go with the weed example. If it's the same dude with weed and he sees that the judge has got the Playboy model or whatever up behind him, I think he's going to feel a little bit better about the ruling that's going to come down.
And maybe vice versa, though.
So it comes down to what the defendant feels?
Right. That's what that whole
feelings.
That's what that. Yeah, exactly. That's what that whole argument was about his 10 Commandments being up. Was they didn't like the way they felt when they were in his courtroom.
So once again,
so he leaves and he runs for the Chief Justice of the United States. Runs for Chief Justice of the state of Alabama. Guess what happens?
He's elected.
Why is he elected?
Because every Christian that remembered him taking down the 10 Commandments, or being forced to take down the 10 Commandments, votes for him.
Exactly. And what does he do as soon as he is the Chief Justice of the state of Alabama?
He does a decree, if you will, over what marriage is.
No, you missed a step.
Okay, what was it?
He puts a giant marble statue in the rotunda of the Alabama courthouse of...
Really?
The 10 Commandments.
Was that? I remembered when I was saying that he took it down. I remembered them putting it outside. I didn't know he was Chief Justice when he did that.
It was an enormous stone marble statue of the 10 Commandments. And then the feds got involved and said, and the same people, oh my gosh, you got to remove this thing and blah, blah. And that's when every Christian went down to Montgomery with their candlelight vigils, literally standing around this big giant statue of the 10 Commandments, singing hymns. That was burned into my memory. I will never forget that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an idol worship there, if you ask me. But I'm Catholic.
So Judge Roy Moore, had he not had a 10 Commandments picture in his courtroom, would have retired in obscurity and would be fishing off a boat in Lay Lake right now.
Right. Nobody would even know who he is.
But because he has played the faith of the people of the state of Alabama, and I might get in trouble for saying this, because he has played you like a violin on your faith to put a monument outside the courthouse and played on your Christianity so that you would come down and sing a candlelight vigil when that monument was being removed. And now is playing on your faith to become the next senator of the United States.
And it's working.
And it is working.
I don't think you're wrong. I think you're right on. I mean, and again, I don't know the man. I'm not passing judgment, but I get the feeling in my gut. My gut is usually right that he is just using Christianity as a way to get votes.
Now, I don't know the guy either. I've never met him. And by the way, I am not endorsing any candidate. I don't want Luther Strange, and I don't want Roy Moore.
Me neither.
Okay?
I didn't vote for either one of them.
I'll tell you right now. Well, Luther Strange is Mitch McConnell's golden boy.
Yeah.
I don't need any Mitch McConnell in my life. All right? Luther Strange, at least we know where he stands.
Right.
Right? And even if he is playing the people of Alabama, he's a dang good politician if he is.
Yeah, and he got there the way he needed to get there. I mean, he did whatever he had to get where he was going. So you got to kind of respect the hustle.
And that is part of politics.
Yeah.
If he is playing the people of the United States, what is he going to do in the Senate?
Well, I heard somebody on the radio the other day that said the senators are no longer there for the people anymore. They're there for the state's interests. That's all.
They've always been there for the state's interest. That was me you were listening to on the radio.
That's right. It was you.
The people of the people of the state should not be electing their senators. The senators are there to represent the state.
Yeah. Yeah.
And until, look it up when we started direct election of senators. Before that, they were appointed by the state legislatures. Really? And I have no idea why that changed so that people call your senator. No, don't call your senator. They could give two spits about what you say. Call your representative. That's why the states are cut up into districts, and your representatives represent a district based on population. But the senator is there to simply cancel out the power of California.
Huh.
That's why we have a republic instead of a democracy. If we had a democracy, there would be no Senate. Everything would be done by vote based on population. That's a democracy. But because we have a Senate where every state has equal power, we have a republic where the little guy's vote equals the big guy's vote, like Rhode Island.
Yeah.
They have small population, so their representation in the House is nothing. But they have 2 senators, just like California, so they equal California's power in the Senate. Hence, we have a republic, or at least we had one. You ask anybody now below the age of 35 whether we have a democracy or republic, and they're going to go, republic? What's that?
Yeah. Which is kind of why the Electoral College is important, too. But
Absolutely. During the last election, when everybody was like, we got to get rid of the Electoral College, I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
And I wrote essay after essay. I did radio show after radio show on why the Electoral College is so stinking important.
Yep.
And especially if you don't live in one of 20 major cities.
Yep.
My goodness. If we got rid of the Electoral College, people in nowhere, Nebraska, their vote would count for nothing.
And California.
I mean, we live in a little... Yeah, and no, we live in a little tiny county in Alabama, right?
Right.
So the people in the county of Birmingham, Huntsville, Montgomery, and Mobile would elect our president. But the people in Brent or Demopolis or little tiny places like Wilsonville,
Helena.
Sorry for all of you people listening around the country. These are little tiny towns where we live. Why would we even go and vote? That's what the Electoral College does. It makes my vote count the same as somebody living in Dallas, Texas. And everybody knows that all these giant liberal bastions of lunacy, like New York, L.A., Seattle, Portland,
wait.
Eugene.
Something like you said New York. Maybe this is what I'm hearing. I'm getting some weird interference.
Yeah, no kidding.
By the way, the vote was enacted in 1913.
But before that, we directly elected our representatives.
Yep.
And the legislatures appointed our senators. What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'd like to know.
Did you ever notice
what they thought,
Yeah.
what their thought process behind wanting to change it was, except for, of course, being able to get a little bit more, somehow maybe they got more power out of it, but I don't know.
I think it came down to money.
That's a good point.
I think it came down to money because representatives have to go and they have to speak to the people of the state. Right?
Right.
The problem with as I can see it, the direct appointment of a senator is the senator doesn't actually have to travel from east to west and north to south within the state to be the senator. He's just like, hey, my constituents are the people in the legislature, not the people of the state. But the people of the state elect the legislature elects the senator. They should still be doing the same stuff.
Right.
And now we have representatives that just don't care, like Maxine Waters. It doesn't matter what the people in her district say because she's a strong black woman and she'll tell you so. All right, so we're going to take a quick break because we ran really late there. We're gonna wrap up. Judge Roy Moore is either going to be a great senator and a Bible-believing senator from the state of Alabama, or he is playing you all like a violin.
I'm gonna go with the latter.
And I don't want him, and I don't want Luther Strange either, but we're going to end up with one of them because thankfully we're not going to end up with a Democrat. When we come back, we're going to introduce you to our friend Ding Dong Dennis. Don't worry, you know who he is. He sings karaoke with Kim Jong-un. It's Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. You know, I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hey, you, over yonder. You're listening to Earl and George.
Hey, you, over yonder. Before we get to the Ding Dong Dentist story, I want to bring up a story that I know is going to make Earl's eyes bleed.
Oh, no.
During a Senate confirmation for Donald Trump's nominee to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, Democrat lawmakers asked Amy Coney Barrett. Now, Amy Barrett, or as I like to call her, Notre Dame law professor Dr. Barrett.
Wow.
Mother of 7, and former Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia's clerk.
Dude.
They asked her and told her, quote, "You are controversial," Dianne Feinstein, ranking member of the confirmation committee, said. Quote, well, Earl, why do you think she's controversial?
I'm going to have to go out on a limb and say it's probably got something to do with faith.
Quote, "You are controversial because many of us that have lived our lives as women really organize the value of finally being able to control our reproductive systems," end quote.
Oh, wow. God.
Feinstein continued, "When you read your speeches, the conclusion one draws is that the dogma lives loudly within you. And that's of concern when you come to big issues that large numbers of people have fought for years in this country."
Really? So we don't get to put people on the courts anymore that have differing opinions. Wow.
Barrett said during the hearing, quote, "It's never appropriate for a judge to impose that judge's personal convictions on the law." Sounds like exactly what we were talking about.
Yep.
If you're standing in a courtroom with the 10 Commandments in it, I'm hoping the judge, and I'm trusting the judge is going to rule on the law. Because if the judge said, "You know, in Moses' day, Gene," I'd be like, point of order, Your Honor. I object. Let's rule on the law regardless of the picture you have on the wall. Barrett continued, "I would never impose my personal convictions on the law." Senator Dick Durbin, or as we like to call him, Little Dickie Durbin, also questioned Barrett on her faith, citing a paper she wrote that referred to, quote, "Orthodox Catholics," end quote. Dickie says, "Do you consider yourself an Orthodox Catholic?"
Oh,
Barrett
wow.
replied that she is a faithful Catholic, reiterating that her faith would not bear on any discharge of my duties as a judge.
A blatant lie.
According to Daily Caller, Senator Ben Sass, called his number twice today, told Barrett during the hearing that, quote, "I think some of the questioning that you've been subjected to seems to miss some of these fundamental constitutional protections we all have," end quote. Now, I really find it interesting that Senator Dianne Feinstein from the state of California has a problem with a Catholic being on the 7th Court of Appeals, but not a problem with uber liberal, lame judges with a mind-boggling disease called leftist mentality ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Right?
Because, quote, the dogma, end quote, lives loudly within them. Senator Dianne Feinstein, Earl, called your faith the dogma.
Yep. They do that a lot. I don't like Feinstein at all, though. At all.
She's also the anti-Second Amendment person who says she's got a gun and her security are armed at all times. I mean, they got to be armed because some crazy wacko right-wing nutcase is going to come up and shoot her, right?
Following the dogma, yeah.
Following the dogma that lives loudly within them. Yeah, I figured that one would get you going. These Democrats, man, they drive me crazy. These leftists are just out there. They're insane, man.
Yep.
They are absolutely insane. Okay. On to the story about your friend and mine, Ding Dong Dennis. And, of course, I'm referring to Ding Dong Dennis Rodman.
Right. What do he do now?
He was on Good Morning Britain. And, yes, wow. There is actually a show called Good Morning Britain. The former basketball star recently shared details from his friendship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, or, as we like to call him, the zit on a pig.
Yep.
In an interview with Good Morning Britain, Rodman's karaoke buddy, his karaoke buddy, he says he just needs to get with the United States and straighten things out. Quote, we just need to start some dialogue. I think that'll open up doors just a little bit, Rodman said, describing how he and Kim talk, laugh, and sing karaoke together. What a bromance they're having.
Right?
Now, they don't talk politics. Rodman's solution for President Donald Trump was to have a conversation with Kim about their respective countries and histories. You know, I can just see them there shooting hoops, having a little moonshine, maybe a little Korean moonshine, just laughing and joking and singing Whitney Houston. And, you know, they don't have conversations about the hundreds of thousands of people he's got starving in concentration camps. No. It's all about, hey, let's tell me a joke, Kim.
Or the millions of people starving on the street.
We just hang out and talk about the important things. Not your nuclear weapons program or, you know, your missiles that you're shooting at Guam. No, you don't know the Kim Jong-un like I do.
I don't even think Rodman knows there's Guam.
God. Straighten things out. You want to know the only thing Kim Jong-un wants to actually straighten out?
What's that?
The flight path of his missiles.
I had a feeling you were going there.
Kim Jong-un is insane. And what's wrong with him being insane is that he has a nuclear frickin' stockpile.
Right.
Now, we've talked about this situation many times. There is no good way out. Even an oil embargo, another embargo of North Korea, is bad because you know he's got his finger on the button. He is looking for and waiting for China to say, yeah, man, go ahead.
Yeah, and China was doing drills off the Korean peninsula too, so things are getting serious over there.
And what happens if he goes, you know what, China, screw you, I'm done. Click.
Right.
Send it. Send the house. I want you to take out Seoul and Tokyo and Kyoto by the end of the day. I'm going to go burn. I'm going to go grill out. You guys want a hot dog? I mean, I got plenty. Don't forget the starving people. I got kimchi on the grill. Y'all, I mean, seriously.
Rodman's coming over
the
later.
Guy, you know, Dennis is coming over. We're going to sing a little karaoke. So go ahead and launch those missiles. We're going to grill out. You guys have a great day. By the way, I need you to execute him, and him. The dogs are hungry. The guy's a lunatic.
Yeah.
And, you know, Earl, man, I've been racking my brains about this, and I don't know what to do. I can't find a situation out of this.
No, there was came across on Fox News, I believe, so take it for what it's worth. But they said that SEAL Team 6 is already getting ready. But, you know, again, I don't see our intelligence or our Department of Defense releasing any kind of information of what we would be doing. But there was this whole workup.
I sure hope not.
Yeah, for real, of what SEAL Team 6 was getting prepared to do, because they're the ones that, quote unquote, took out bin Laden. So they were saying that they're working every possibility. That's what it was. They were working every possibility in case they were needed.
Every possibility in case they were needed.
Yep.
All right. We got about 10 more minutes left. We are going to, at this part of the show, which everybody just laughs.
So
they don't.
We're not going to take a break. We're just going to go to this.
No, we're going to drive
section.
on. We're going to drive on. We're driving right through.
Everyone's favorite section. Is it?
The douche of the week, everybody.
There you go.
I have 3 nominees. And by the way, we're going to get a fancy intro for this. We're going to be like Letterman's Top 10.
I was going to say, we need some kind of introduction to it.
I want the Letterman. I want some fancy graphics like ba-bum-bum-ba, the douche of the week, right? So I have 3 nominees, but we'll go with yours, Earl. Let's go with yours first.
Both of mine are going to be highly political this week, more than usual. This is more closer to, I would probably say closer to a religious type thing than anything. My first one is going to be Martha Plimpton. And if you don't know who that is, she's an actress that was in the movie Goonies, who was bragging about her first abortion and about how proud she was of her abortion. And she said if she could Yelp review it, she would have given it 5 stars.
That's weird.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, it was horrible. She did this whole interview. I mean, it was disgusting. She's not just douchey. She's beyond douchey. She's a disgusting human being. And then my second one, of course, is it's not really douchey. It's just kind of, I think, and again, this may be the conservative in me, but I think it's sending the wrong message. It's Brian Austin Green, who was defending his 4-year-old son's use of wearing dresses. I see where he's coming from, but at the same time, I don't think he's sending the right message. I'm not trying to tell him how to do his parenting, but, those are my 2 douches.
Yep, I saw that guy. I saw that guy's video on Facebook, and I was like, douche.
Right?
Mr. Producer, you had 2 hours.
I actually have something, and it's not political or whatever, but it just seems pretty douchey.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the name. It's actually on Facebook here, and it's talking about a show being put together and naming a show, and somebody said, "I hate morning shows. You should just make it music." Yeah, that's pretty douchey. That's pretty darn douchey.
I didn't see that.
Okay, so backstory.
Guy number 1.
at the local affiliate where we do the radio show, there's a contest to name the new morning show. They put it out on Facebook. We're not going to name any names, but they put it out on Facebook, and a commenter on Facebook says, "I hate morning shows." That's pretty douchey.
Yeah, no, exactly. And he said, "I would rather it just be, music. I hate morning shows." I'm like, wow, that's right. That's pretty douchey. I got to admit.
That falls under the category, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all, douche.
So that's my pick.
So I had to go right from our news articles today. I wrote down Planned Parenthood CEO Cecile Richards because, obviously, Mexican immigrants are more important than American babies.
Right.
Obviously, Ding Dong Dennis Rodman, because how bad do you want to see video of him singing karaoke with frickin' Kim Jong-un?
Well, see, I missed that story, or else he'd be on my list.
At the moment of the assassination by SEAL Team 6. Like, that's the video I want to see. You are the wind beneath my wings. Pop, pop, pop. Right? That's how I want that to go down. And then, of course, Dianne Feinstein, who doesn't like Catholics.
Right.
Because, of course, you have to be a judge and a woman, so it's all about reproductive parts. So this is a tough one because I'm leaning towards the abortion douche.
Right.
Mr. Producer, I'm really leaning toward, the dude justifying his son wearing a dress, you have a mental disorder. But the woman saying she would 5-star Yelp her abortion.
And she said it was her first one, that she's had many more since then.
Oh, my God. Like, when I woke up this morning, I didn't think I was going to say 5-star Yelp abortion in the same sentence.
Right? It disgusted me to my core. And watching this video and how people applauded her for her victorious statement about how wonderful it was disgusting.
God, I can't even imagine imagine that Yelp review. So there I am on the table. Doctor's hands were a little cold. Dude. I mean, seriously, right? But It was a great, relaxing experience as they basically dismembered my child and sucked it out of me with a giant tube.
For the first time.
That was my first one. I've had many since. Like, how can you even talk about that? It's like your first haircut.
Yeah.
You know? You talk about the death of a child as easily as you talk about clipping your fingernails. And I don't, man, there's no, that goes to uber douche. Like, that is the next level douche.
Is that the winner? It would appear to be so.
To me, that takes the cake. Even Dennis Rodman singing karaoke with the zit on a pig
I still want to see
has
that
nothing
video.
to do with that.
That sounds like it would be a very funny video.
Of him and Kim and Ung singing karaoke? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be quite hilarious.
Yeah. During the SEAL Team 6, I mean, I'm flashbang, flash bright. Think about it like
you got it planned out, don't you?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, totally. Flashbang, right?
All right.
Stun them. What song would be playing? What do you think they would be singing as SEAL Team 6 comes in? They're like, "Oh my God, Dennis Rodman! Pop him too. You're done."
The wind beneath my wings.
Wind beneath my wings. That's what I thought. That's what I mean. I would think that Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un would have perfect harmony. Ebony and Ivory. Right? What do you think? What do you think, Mr. Producer?
On which one, the douche or that?
No. What song would they be singing karaoke to? Please say "Sweet Home Alabama."
No. Just to be ironic, just to be super ironic, they're singing "We Are the Champions," and then they get killed.
And then all you hear is a bunch of SEAL Team 6 guys go, "Clear, clear, 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 clear." Nice job, fellas.
Exactly.
I got to go with douche lady. I got to go with abortion lady.
Yeah, that's who my vote is.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
Martha Plimpton, I believe is how you say it.
Is she still an actress?
Yes. In fact, she's if you don't know who she is, if you haven't seen Goonies, she was the short-haired or short blonde-headed woman.
Goonies?
No, is she she's in the new Tom Cruise movie? Like, is she still an actress?
Well, she's been on TV. The last thing she did was The Real O'Neills, and before that, she was on Raising Hope, which was actually a pretty big show that was on for a while.
So the reason I ask is so that I can never, ever, ever, ever see her amazingly douchey face on TV.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, she's TV
I never
mostly.
want 1 cent of my money going to this absolute total douche. Martha Plimpton unanimously, even over Rodman and Un singing karaoke, unanimously our douche of the week. Congratulations, Martha.
Yeah, all right.
Along with your douche trophy this week, you are going to get more abortions.
Wow.
Hopefully not, because we actually want to. We care about life.
Yeah. So yeah.
I was gonna say we sterilize her.
We should just abort her.
There you go.
For real.
Oh, well.
Oh no! See, we care about life.
That would be murder.
No,
Yeah.
that's.
Send her to North Korea to sing karaoke with Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un. Yeah.
Right before SEAL Team 6 gets there.
And then SEAL Team 6 can abort them. All right. That's it, guys. Welcome to the end of another show. And I'm surprised it worked.
Right?
Like, seriously. We did this show from 2 locations. We basically did 2 live broadcasts at the same time. Now, granted, it's easy from a studio in Alabama. From a walk-in closet in Tennessee, it's not as easy.
Hey, at least you had moonshine.
We probably going to get some more. That probably won't be the end of it. We'll catch you guys next week. Earl, you going to be here next week? You out next week?
No, I'll be here next week. It's the next week.
All right. We will see you here next week. It's homecoming in Alabama.
Yeah.
We'll see you. Thank you, Mr. Producer. Thank you, Earl. My name is George. Check out the website, earlandgeorge.com. Keep the downloads going. Keep the shares. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Roll Tide.
Do something nice for you. Do something nice for someone you don't know. Roll Tide.